Busan Hyang, also known as the Train to Busan, directed by Sang Ho-yeon and written by Joo-Suk Park and Sang Ho-yeon, and it stars Yoo Gong as Seok Woo, Yoo Mi-jung as Seong Hyun, Dong-Seok Ma as Sang Hwa, Soo-Jung Kim as Soo-an, Eui-sung Kin as Yeon-suk, Woo-sik Choi as Yeong-guk, Sohee as Jin-hee, Myung-Shin Park as Jung-gil, Soo-Jung Ye as In-gil, and Gwi-Hwa Choi as Homeless Man. Train to Busan is a film of cult-like status, even though it made $93.1 million worldwide and is the sixth highest grossing domestic film of all time in South Korea. Even the film director and writer Edgar Wright called Train to Busan one of the best zombie movies he's ever seen, and I personally think it's one of the best zombie movies I've ever seen as well. And Train to Busan actually keeps it with normal personalities and people that you want to see on the screen, people that you want to root for and want to see survive. The main character, Seok Woo, played by Yoo Gong, is a businessman. He spends all his days doing business and being in the office so that his family can have a good life in South Korea. And in South Korea, this is something you hold quite valuable. This is something you work and strive towards, is to be this businessman who can have all this good stuff. Because if you're just working a normal job, you're kind of down in the lows and you're seen as almost as bad as a homeless person. So everything he's done is invested in this, and even if you're not part of the South Korean culture, you can still see it. But this tears him away from his wife and tears him away from his daughter. Soo-an, played by Soo-Jung Kim, play a father and daughter who have been pulled away from each other, and the mother you never see in the movie. It's just about the dad and the daughter's relationship, but they've been pushed away by modern life. Make sure that your family's well protected, well looked out for, their future's in safe hands. But because he spent all his time doing this, there is no emotional connection between Seok Woo's character and Soo-an's character. They're estranged from each other even though they live together, and Soo-an would rather stay with her mother, who culturally is seen as uneducated, not very wise, not very clever, a bit of a degenerate. Not in American culture or English culture, but in South Korean culture she is, because she's a woman that won't take any shit from any man, who thinks she can make it on her own. And in South Korean culture, this is seen as somebody who's just not clever, just not with it, isn't reaching for that pinnacle of success, which so many people do in South Korea. And this is what it is for a movie, especially a horror movie. It can't just be giving you something that you're afraid about, or that would make you horrified, or that would make you scared. It has to be something that is rooted deeply within people's subconsciousness or consciousness, such as trying to stay on top of your work, trying to stay on top of your family, and balancing your work and family life together. And Yoo Gong plays the character of Seok Woo so well. Like, you can see it in his face that he wants to connect with his daughter, but at the same time he wants to protect his daughter, and he's not really bothered about anybody else that is there or that is in danger. It's only him and his daughter that matter. Sang Hwa character, played by Dong-Seok Ma, and his wife Seong Hyun, played by Yoo Mi-jung, are expecting a child, but they haven't got the child yet, but they're expecting the child. And Seong Hwa's character, I really do think is the best character, best grounded character, best acted or played out character that I've seen in a very long time from any film, whether it be a Hollywood film, Bollywood film, a foreign film, an English film. Like, this character, I want to see more of Sang Hwa, because you first join him and his wife his heavily pregnant wife is in the bathroom peeing for two, and he's outside kind of like telling everyone to shift on, and when he's knocking on the door she's having a massive go at him, and he steps back and he's like, see, don't get me in a bad mood with the missus, go use the other toilet. But then when the zombies start attacking, he's the one to put on the armor, he's the one to like make sure everybody's safe, because the character Seok-woo leaves Changhwa behind at one point, and he just calls him an asshole after that, and a bastard, and everything else. These two characters, Seok-woo and Changhwa, they are both the main characters. They're the ones that really lead, really protect, really help out everybody, and are trying to survive and trying to make sure everybody else survives. But they don't do it in this Hollywood, I'm the leader, I'm the top dog, I'm the big man, yeah, kind of way. They do it in this very much head-butting kind of way, but they know they have to work together. Yet again, it's a balancing act. You have other characters that you follow around that really helps thicken out the storyline, helps you show different aspects of different lives of different people within Korea and what their response would be to this outbreak happening and how they would try to survive this outbreak. The character of Jin-hee and Yeong-guk, played by Sohee and Woo-sik Choi, they both play teenagers who are quite popular in their schools, and they're off to do a sports day. Yeong-guk is a sportsman playing for, I think, the football team, and Jin-hee is a cheerleader. And they both have their teenage laugh. They're both going around, and then the zombie outbreak happens, and they're like, uh-oh, don't know what to do. But what I did find really interesting about their relationship is that Yeong-guk, played by Woo-sik Choi, he's kind of doesn't want it. He's very much showing the South Korean and Japanese young culture of today of not trying to have a relationship, not trying to be with someone. But Sohee, who plays Jin, he is a character that wants to be with him and wants to go out with him and wants to be his wife, wants to have his kids, because this is a very big part in South Korean culture. So she's like, she doesn't play the crazy teenage girl, she just plays the slightly infatuated teenage girl, and you're not quite sure if they're already going out or not, or if this is kind of like their relationship. But it works quite well. They're not the main characters, but they are characters that help lead the story along with the different compartments that are happening in the train, and they show you another aspect of the outbreak that is happening all around them and how people are surviving with it. Jong Gil and In Gil, who are two old women, and they just complain about life in general, people, young people, what's going on, how it's happening, and they're trying to survive, and they're quite old and bitter. They have a go at each other and fight each other, but ultimately they love each other and they want to protect each other no matter what. Yet again, they're not the main characters, but they really help thicken out this world of Train to Busan. They just add another aspect. They add that other aspect of family, of culture, of viewing the world. Everything that has gone into this movie to try and really expand and broaden on everything in this movie that goes into it. The storylines, the characters, how well written they are and well padded, well thought out. In fact, it doesn't concentrate so much on the zombie apocalypse, but more on the survivors, really grips you in. And the director and writer Sang Ho-yeon and Joo-Sung Park really have done a good job at creating characters that you get emotionally invested with and emotionally involved with, and who you root for. They even have a antagonist in there in the form of Yeon-suk, played by Eui-sung Kin, who is a character that parallels the character of Seok-woo, played by Yoo Gong, who is a businessman. He wants to survive with his money, and he's only thinking about himself. He's got no family around him to care about. He wants to get to Busan because that's a safe place so that he can get his money and so he can remain on top, and he will go over anyone or push anyone in front of a train to get there. That's all he cares about. This is his motivation. and it's a really good parallel between his character of Yeon-suk and the main character of Seok-woo, and the way the whole story goes about it. I'm not going to give you any spoilers within this video, but it does start with Seok-woo and Soo-an in their family home, and Soo-an wants to go see her mum, but Seok-woo's not too sure if she should go to see her mum, but in the end he relents and they go on the train. And a couple of little odd bits in the background have happened. There's a sense of foreboding over this, but it's not until the homeless man character, played by Gwi-Hwa Choi, comes running in to the train, and a zombie manages to get onto the train, that it really starts. The zombie outbreak, the zombie apocalypse of South Korea really starts. And the homeless man character, if this was a Hollywood movie, they would have killed the homeless man character off as soon as he had finished his part of introducing the zombies. But this guy stays in the movie for a very long time. In fact, I can't remember if he does or doesn't survive. Everything that goes into this movie, there's just so much to take in. And it is one of those ones that you really want to see again. You really want to go through again. You can analyze again. You can break down all the scenes, and it takes you through such an emotional roller coaster. The characters in it, at some points you hate them, at some points you like them, at some points you're not sure about them, because none of the characters are particularly the main character, because they have managed to balance out the different characters and dialogues and scenes they have and the way they interact with each other. You're not too sure who is and isn't going to survive. Train to Busan is an amazing movie with really good production values, really good acting, a strong storyline, well thought out, well rounded, emotionally resonating, and characters that you can connect to. The tone of the movie comes through solidly. There aren't any gaffes that stand out. The makeup is really good. The effects are fantastic, especially for a South Korean movie, and I've seen a lot of South Korean movies. The effects can be a bit dodgy, but this is up there with the rest of them, these effects. And some of the scenes are scenes that you wouldn't get from your normal Hollywood movie. There's a scene in it where Dong-Seok Ma's character, Sang-hwa, is going down an escalator with his wife, Seong-hyung, played by Yoo Mi-jung, and at the bottom there's a load of zombies. And this scene, Hollywood would not write. In fact, if somebody in Hollywood suggested it, they would probably get fired, because what happens is Sang-hwa sees the zombies, sees his heavily pregnant wife, Seong-hyung, next to him, so he picks her up, puts her the other side of the escalator, so she is now going up the escalator, and then he puts himself in between the heavily pregnant woman and the zombies to protect her. That would get you fired in Hollywood, because she's a strong woman. She don't need no man to help her raise no kid. She can do this all herself. She's going to kick ass whether she's 8 months pregnant or not. And she's going to come out with no blood at all. They'll all be dead. In fact, all the other men, any white men there, they'll die too, because women power. Yeah, you wouldn't get that scene in Hollywood, and this scene really connects you with the characters you see. Like, that's a well-written character. This movie, if you are looking for something which really encapsulates you, motivates you, and you want to see good production, you want to see good directing, you want to see a good atmosphere in the movie, you want to hear proper, realistic, good dialogue, this is the movie for you. Train to Busan has some brilliant written scenes in it. Amazing, effective scenes. It takes you on a note where you don't like some characters, and then you do like some characters. There are certain characters in it that you definitely are supposed to hate, but the other characters in it that have the most amount of dialogue and screen time You are given these do I like him, don't I like him moments. Yes, I'm really rooting for this guy. I'm not quite sure. And then you get angry at some characters, you get happy at some characters, and in certain scenes, like you cry like a 5-year-old girl. You just say like, no, I can't believe they just did that. Not to him. We liked you. You can't die. Kind of thing going on. Train to Busan is an amazing film that you know is going to become a cult classic with many followers, many fans, many people talking about it for years to come. And it's going to be one of those ones that they can show over and over again at many film festivals or events and Halloween events or just mainly movie going events because of how well written, well created, and well thought out Train to Busan is. In conclusion, Train to Busan, I would give it, it's a 10 out of 10. Train to Busan is definitely a 10 out of 10. I can't think of anything wrong with it. I can't think of when they dropped the dialogue ball. I can't think when the timing didn't work. I can't think when the pacing didn't work. I can't think when the atmosphere didn't work. I can't think of a time when the actors weren't as strong on a scene or weren't or kind of like let the illusion lift. I can't think of a time when it just stumbled over itself or it never takes itself too seriously. It works so well. It is a 10 out of 10. Train to Busan is a film with cult-like status which has managed to reap in the benefits of what a major Hollywood movie would reap in and is up there in the history books at earning $93.1 million worldwide and being the sixth largest grossing movie in South Korea made by South Korea. I want to check out the top 5 now. I'm going to have to find out the top 5 grossing South Korean movies in South Korea and give you a review on them as well. But if you're stuck on what zombie movie to watch, you need to check out Train to Busan. Thank you very much for watching this review on Train to Busan. I hope you've enjoyed it. Give us a like and a thumbs up. Let us know what you think and what other videos you think we should review. Check out the rest of this channel for some interesting documentaries and other interesting facts and videos and reviews. We'll see you later, and until then, take care.